Hi YouTube, it's Amber again. Uh, so I'm super excited about this topic. I feel like I should say that on the front end because I don't want anyone to be surprised by my excitement to talk about religion. Um, I have so much I could say and so many thoughts that I have, so I'm going to try and not get too rambly and lost. So I want to start with telling you a little bit about my history with religion. I grew up Roman Catholic. I spent 25 years going to Catholic mass, and for all of my first 25 years before I came out, I was a very devout Catholic and dealt with the things that I didn't believe with because it was still my church home. My my parents, neither of them exactly grew up Catholic. My dad went to mass a few times as a kid, but wasn't um, didn't attend too much as a teenager. My mom grew up African Methodist, um, or AME Zion, if that is a little more familiar term to people. And when my parents got married, they wanted to join a church together, so they lived in the apartment complex next door to the church that my parents still go to, um, and next door to the grade school that I went to. So I was baptized Catholic. I went to St. Michael the Archangel Catholic School next door to St. Michael the Archangel Catholic Church, um, first through eighth grade, and then behind my grade school and church was my high school, Cardinal Ritter. Um, and I went on retreats in high school, which was required, but I actually enjoyed going on retreat. I went on a couple extra retreats down at St. Mildred, which is in southern Indiana. It's an arch abbey. If you're not familiar with the term, it's basically like an extra important convent, for lack of a better way to explain it. But I went to a couple liturgical ministry retreats down there, and continued into college with religion being a very important part of my life. I went to Wittenberg University in Springfield, Ohio, which is a Lutheran college. It was really the first time in my life where a lot of the people I interacted with were not Catholic. When I was thinking back about this week, my friends were all Catholic as a kid. We spent a lot of time at church because my dad was a lector and my mom was on the church decorating committee. So we went to church every single Sunday. We sat in the front row, and it was just that was life. And um, my life had been so profoundly touched at many different points by what I believe to be God that I mean, I'll probably never not go to church. It would take a lot for me to not go to church. So when I went to Wittenberg, that was really my first time getting to seriously interact with people who were not Catholic, with people who were agnostics or atheists, or people who believed that you have to be born again. I didn't have had interactions with evangelical Christians. Even the people in my family who are not Catholic are not evangelical Christians either. So that was a new experience for me, and I learned a lot in my time at Wittenberg. I went to Wittenberg thinking that I was going to study either education or music, and I actually ended up getting my degree in religion. So that's part of why this makes me really excited, and why this was the topic that I suggested, one of the topics I've suggested to the group, and that I'm excited to talk about, because I think there are so many LGBT folks have been so badly hurt by religion, because there are so many people who use their faith and their religious conviction as a way to not understand people, and that's so sad to me. It's so incredibly sad to me that people will, instead of coming at it from the standpoint of this is my brother or my sister or my my son or daughter, my cousin, my friend, my family member who I love. Now, how can I reconcile my faith? People come at it from this place of my faith says this, and who you are doesn't match up with that, so I just can't deal with you. And it's just really sad to me. So, looking at Stefan and telling you a little bit about him, his father grew up Catholic, but once he became an adult, didn't really practice as an adult. His mother's side of the family, both of his grandparents from his mom's side, were Polish Jews who had a terrible time during the Holocaust. And like many people who went through that experience, coming out of it, they had zero desire to continue to practice. So my mother-in-law grew up culturally Jewish, but not um, practicing Jewish. When Stefan got to be about 13 or 14, he really wanted to explore the Jewish side of his family. The family as a general group was not church going, but he wanted to explore that side of his family. So they started doing Passover and Hanukkah, um, and still do to this day. And I think when we have kids, that's something that will probably continue. Um, so when we got together, I was still going to Catholic church, and Stefan was not going to any church at all. And I wanted to find a church where we could both go and where we could both be accepted and where he could feel comfortable, even though um, church is not something that has been a big part of his life. So I looked around and tried to find a few different churches that I thought we could explore. And Cross Creek United Church of Christ was actually the first one that we went to. And it's the church that we've been going to for 2 years now. It is a wonderful place. And I wish that every LGBT person who has been hurt by a church could come to our church and visit and be a member for a short time or for their life, if that's their desire. It's a place where it's not just a bunch of people who come together on Sunday. It's really a community where people care about each other, where we send cards when people get sick, where we go out and have fun. A church where there are young straight couples with kids, and there are young gay couples with kids, and there are old gay couples and old straight couples. One of our pastors is gay, and he and his partner have 2 beautiful sons. The pastor from the church who married us is a trans woman, and she was super helpful to Stefan at the beginning of his transition. And Cross Creek has been a home for us over the last 2 years, and I really could not have asked for a better church home. So next I have I have 4 books and 3 documentaries that I would recommend to folks who want to learn a little bit more. So one of the things that I love about my church is that we bring people in to talk about different things. So one of the people we brought in is the author of this book, Unprotected Texts, The Bible's Surprising Contradictions About Sex and Desire. The author's name is Jennifer Wright Knust. And she talked to us about some of the really cool things in the Bible that we don't necessarily know are there, that help us to understand why it was written, when it was written, and what it tells us about sex and relationships. So I would definitely recommend it. It is a very academic read of the books that I have. The next one that I want to talk about is actually the one that I'm reading right now. And it's called Beyond Surviving: From Religious Oppression to Queer Activism by Joshua Moon Johnson. He is a colleague in the field with me in the field of student affairs, and I believe this is actually his dissertation work. So he did interviews with a number of young queer folks to talk about their experiences as children and how they've worked through that. The second book, I actually learned about the last book and this book from a webinar that I was on. So the second book is called Pray the Gay Away: The Extraordinary Lives of Bible Belt Gays by Bernadette Barton. And I've not started reading this one yet. I'm planning to buy it here in the next couple weeks after I finish Joshua Moon Johnson's book. But this is about also younger gay folks who live in the Bible Belt in the South and their experiences and how they work through being. This one is actually one that's a little bit different than the other 3 books that I've talked about so far. It is the least academic of the bunch, and it's much more of a personal journey. It's called The Cross in the Closet by Tim Couric. I actually read about this book on Huffington Post a few weeks back. It just came out in October, and this is a guy who's actually straight, and he decides that he's been brought up in a extremely conservatively religious family, and he wants to learn more about what it's like to be gay. So he comes out to his family and tells them that he is gay, and he actually lives as a gay person for a year, going to gay clubs. He works at a gay coffee shop and really immerses himself in the community to learn a lot more about it. It was a really interesting read. I have 3 documentaries. This is the first one. It's called Fish Out of Water. It's from 2010, I think. It's kind of fun because a lot of it is animated. It does a great job of talking through the 7 major verses in the Bible that are used against gay marriage. So that's the first one, Fish Out of Water. The second one is called For the Bible Tells Me So. I watched this. It's been a while. It won a few awards and talks about the clash between religion and homosexuality. So this is the third documentary that I actually just watched this week. It is called Wish Me Away by Shelley Wright. Shelley is a country singer, and she talks about being in the closet for about 38 years and her struggles with coming out as a Christian and as a country artist. It was really interesting to see her reconcile her faith and her country music career and being gay, which are things that you wouldn't necessarily fit together. So those are my 4 books and my 3 documentaries that I would recommend. So as I finish up the video, I just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Solstice and Festivus and other holidays in the end of the year. Happy Chinese New Year in a few weeks in January. I hope everyone has a safe and wonderful holiday, that you get to spend time with the people that you love, and I will see you all next Saturday. Have a great holiday.